What's going on, everyone? This Kyrie Irving to the Lakers drama is just a never-ending cycle. It's just news after reports after reports. And earlier, there was reports that Kyrie Irving would be traded to the Lakers for Russell Westbrook, that they were engaged in talks, and basically they were just trying to figure out the ins and outs. Like, we're going to take on Westbrook, we're going to give you Kyrie, but we want this, that, and the other. And the logic and kind of standstill is where they want to give up Joe Harris, where the Lakers, they want Seth Curry. And the reason for that is both sides are trying to preserve cap space. Brooklyn, they want to take on Russell Westbrook because it gives them future cap space flexibility. And if they're able to get off of Joe Harris in the process, then that alleviates another $8+ million over the next several seasons, because Joe Harris has 2 more years on his contract, and where the Lakers, they don't have anybody essentially after next year. They'd re-sign Kyrie, of course. They'd re-sign LeBron, of course, and then whatever other pieces go around it. But if they take on Seth is an expiring contract after this year. It provides the shooting, provides everything the Lakers need. They're going to give up draft picks, probably a draft swap. They'll figure out the ins and outs, whatever the likelihood is. I don't think taking on Joe Harris will be the be-all, end-all. I think eventually one side or the other will cave, and it's just a matter of time before Kyrie becomes a Laker. But there are new reports, thanks to Shams, where the Sixers and Dallas Mavericks are teams that are keeping an eye out, and they may be suitors for the Kyrie Irving trade. So the Sixers and the Dallas Mavericks have all of a sudden came out of the woodworks when all of this is in the discussions, right? We see this stuff time and time again. Now, the Lakers are going to get Kyrie Irving. It's just a matter of when, not if. The Sixers and the Dallas Mavericks, we'll dive into why it's not going to happen with them, but it's just kind of interesting that the Lakers and the Nets are at this standstill, right? They're at this, like, we want Seth, no, we want to give you Joe Harris, and then all of a sudden these reports come out. You don't take the deal if you don't make the trade. Well, we got these other teams that are really interested. This is just a report just to try to put some pressure on the Lakers to force their hand so they'll make a trade. Now, again, let's break it down here. So let's start with the Philadelphia 76ers. Why in the world would they want Kyrie Irving? It makes no sense. Not just that, they are still trying to negotiate and get James Harden to sign or re-sign with Philadelphia. The whole reason James Harden left the Brooklyn Nets was because of Kyrie Irving and all of that drama. He just wanted to play basketball, and he wanted to go to a place that held people accountable, and that, he didn't have to listen to Kyrie and all of his antics and see him play one day and not the other and all of this stuff. So he was like, I just want to get out of here. That's what all the reports were. Everything was that James Harden just wanted to get away from Kyrie Irving. That's what it was about. And he went to Philadelphia. There is no way in the world that Daryl Morey is trading for Kyrie Irving if it means losing James Harden. It just is not going to happen. So Kyrie Irving going to Philadelphia makes absolutely no sense. Beyond that, what would Philly give up to go get Kyrie? Because the whole reason that the Brooklyn Nets want to take on Westbrook now is because now it makes a world of sense. Before Kevin Durant asked and requested a trade, it didn't make sense, right? But now you're trading Kevin Durant, you want the cap flexibility. And you want to stay relevant. You want to stay competitive because you don't have any draft picks till 2027. And Westbrook will give you that. So it makes all the world of sense to take on Westbrook because you're losing $47 million off of your cap to be able to hopefully jumpstart your rebuild. You go get some really nice pieces for Kevin Durant, and now you're competitive once again. That's the thinking. That's the logic. What are they going to do? Take on Tobias Harris and his contract? No, it makes no sense for the Sixers, and it makes no sense for the Brooklyn Nets. So the idea of Kyrie going to Philadelphia is not going to happen. Not just that, but Daryl Morey does not want the Kyrie Irving headache. He is an analytic and just, formula-driven GM. He does not want the headache that is Kyrie Irving. He does not want to have to connect the dots. If Kyrie Irving was a player that, with his skill set, that you could count on, and that wasn't going to be just a locker room headache and nightmare, then yeah, Daryl Morey would probably take on Kyrie Irving. You put the best 3 guys on the court as possible. It gives you another scoring option. Kyrie, Embiid, and James Harden would be amazing on paper. But the reality is Embiid doesn't want that headache. James Harden, like I said, left Brooklyn to get away from that headache, and Daryl Morey is not going to want that headache. Daryl Morey is not giving up assets to go get Kyrie Irving. And they don't have very many assets left to get Kyrie Irving. Again, the Laker trade is far better than this Philadelphia 76ers trade and anything they could go through, because they're not going to trade Maxey to go get Kyrie Irving. There's no way they would do that. They could get a way better package for Maxey than Kyrie Irving would. So it just makes no sense from Philly. But next up is the Dallas Mavericks. Now, the Dallas Mavericks, again, make absolutely no sense. Beyond that, there was a Mavs insider who actually works for the organization that said there is absolutely no way that Kyrie Irving is coming to Dallas, that Mark Cuban does not want Kyrie, that he doesn't want to deal with the headache, that Jason Kidd doesn't want to deal with the headache. Nobody in Dallas wants to deal with the headache. But let's say everybody changed their mind. Again, what is your package if you're Dallas for Kyrie Irving? Seriously, what is it? Because they don't want to take on salary. And the only way Dallas could trade for Kyrie Irving is to give up some salary, some guys on some long-term contracts, which they have. They do have some expiring contracts, but they don't match up to Kyrie Irving. And why would the Brooklyn Nets want, 12 players when they could just get Russell Westbrook, and they have a $47 million cap break after this season? And they're going to get draft picks, and they could probably negotiate to get a THT or whatever. It's just, again, the trade makes no sense from Dallas and a Brooklyn standpoint. And why would Dallas want the headache that is Kyrie Irving? Especially when you have a young Luka who needs the ball, is going to have the ball. You have the perfect pieces around Luka. You were just in the Western Conference Finals, and you just got Christian Wood. I know they feel some type of way, which I don't really believe, but supposedly they're upset that they lost Brunson. I don't think so. I think that they are hooting and hollering and happy that they didn't have to pay Brunson $100 million, because he's an undersized point guard that is unproven. Like, he had one great run and that was it. You really want to lock yourself into $100 million? Now, if he turns out to be great for the Knicks, then good for the Knicks. But I don't think Dallas was really keen and all high on trying to offer Brunson money. I mean, they never even, I don't believe they ever even had a meeting. They were supposed to, and he never actually went to the meeting, because I'm sure Dallas wasn't pressuring very hard. Because I think if they really showed Brunson, like, no, we want you here, we need you here, like, come on, it would have happened. Brunson would have stayed. So, and the answer isn't to go get Kyrie Irving. Like, the last thing you want is that headache with Jason Kidd, that young roster, Luka. Luka and Kyrie are going to just be going at it. It would just be an absolute disaster for Dallas when they have a really good, solid team. And we're just in the Western Conference Finals, So Dallas doesn't want anything to do with Kyrie Irving. It's been said by the organization that they don't want anything to do with Kyrie Irving. That's why they never got into the sweepstakes for Kyrie Irving. There were reports for the last week. Nobody besides the Lakers wanted Kyrie Irving. And the Lakers and the Nets were reported to be in the middle of engagement and having a discussion about the ins and outs, and they were having a standstill on just the little pieces. We already got established Kyrie, Westbrook, great. But you want this, I want this, and they're just trying to navigate that. All of a sudden, this report that two other teams that have clearly stated they want nothing to do with Kyrie all of a sudden are back in the sweepstakes. No, I don't buy it. I don't. I think at the end of the day, the Lakers are still the best trade, still the best destination, because it does everything that the Nets want. You recoup assets, you unload salary, you take on Westbrook. You got all of that money that falls off. You have so many options with Westbrook. If you decide you want to trade him, you could trade him. If you want to keep him and run it, you could keep him and run it. If you want to go the John Wall route and just sit him for a year, here's $47 million. Take the year off. Go train your body. Get ready to go to whatever team you go to the following year. That absolutely is a possibility. They could buy him out. They could do whatever. The whole reason the Brooklyn Nets want Westbrook now is for the flexibility. They're not going to go and take a bunch of random contracts that make them completely irrelevant and bottom feeders for the next 3-4 years, because they don't have draft picks to tank. They can't tank. That's why they want to trade Kevin Durant for pieces that will make them at least competitive still, so that way the teams that own their draft picks don't end up getting, lottery picks. They don't have draft picks to wait around and do all this stuff and tank and try to get this, that, and the other. No, they have to stay relevant. They have to stay competitive. And the way you do that is you go trade Kevin Durant for some quality assets and some quality pieces. You trade Kyrie Irving for Russell Westbrook to get the financial flexibility, and maybe Westbrook can run for you and he can be good for you, and then that's great for a year, and then he walks away and he goes to another team. The only solution is the Lakers. And I just think, again, it's a matter of when, not if. I think that it's within the next, by like the end of the day on Monday, Kyrie, I imagine, will be a Los Angeles Laker. Now, they said, the reports did say that they're looking at it for the offseason, within the coming weeks. And technically, they have until September. But I don't think the Brooklyn Nets want to deal with this for another 2 months. I think they want this to be over with and done. They're just trying to figure out, and it's just going to be like who folds first. Which team decides to cave first? The Lakers want to preserve the cap space for their future. They've done a great job. Even all of their signings this year were all to, keep the cap space that they have, because they're going to have $80 to $100 million next offseason. They want that cap space. Taking on Joe Harris cuts into that cap space. They'd still have plenty of cap space, but still, they want to be as flexible as possible. But so do the Brooklyn Nets. So that's where the standstill lies. But as always, this is a discussion, so I want to hear from you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comment section below. What do you think? Do you think that, this is just nonsense, this is just smoke screens, it's just, of course, these reports came out because they're at a standstill, they're trying to figure out the ins and outs. Kyrie Irving will be a Laker. Or do you think, no, like they're a real threat, that, maybe Philadelphia really does want Kyrie? I don't see it. I think if you get Kyrie, you're definitely losing James Harden. I think James Harden is gone if you sign Kyrie. And Kyrie and Embiid is not better than James Harden and Embiid. So no, I just don't see that happening. And then Dallas, why in the world would Dallas want that headache? Especially after they have said they don't want anything to do with Kyrie Irving. I just don't see that being the route. But again, would love to hear your thoughts and opinions down in the comment section below. One last little shameless plug is I did start As It Stands Lakers. It is a channel just like this, dedicated to only the Lakers, because the Lakers are my favorite team. And on this channel, As It Stands, I talk about all teams, all sports, stuff like that. We have football season coming up, so I'm definitely looking forward to that as well. And I just wanted to make a dedicated channel to the Lakers to give the ins and outs. Now, all the big stuff, all the big news and stuff, I will still post here on this channel. But if you want all the ins and outs and just rumors and theories and just discussions just strictly on the Lakers, link down in the description or in the comment section. Go check out the channel, subscribe to the channel. I'd really appreciate it. That being said, hit that like button. Helps me out a lot, lets me know you enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. If you're not subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button, followed by the bell notification. Stay up to date with all things sports. Join this wonderful community and all of our discussions. I'll see you all in the next one. Thank you.